Hey guys, sorry about the wait for this video. I just got really busy with a lot of stuff in my personal life, and I had to push this back a bit because I didn't really get any chance to work on it. So again, sorry. But now, on to the 8th episode of my Dragon Ball Death Battle review series, Lord Beerus versus Sailor Galaxia. This video was pretty tricky for me to get down, and the biggest reason for that is the original upload for this video was taken down a few years ago, for copyright reasons that I believe, which would make it impossible for me to review the analysis of the characters and what they say there. But luckily for me, I was able to find a re-uploaded version that had Spanish subtitles, which I'll link in the description in case any of you guys want to see what Death Battle says for themselves. But with that aside, it was also hard for me to really cover because I'm not particularly familiar with this matchup, and I think part of that is because I don't really care. I don't focus much on Beerus, and I have never watched Sailor Moon, which is something that I know I've been trying to fix for a while. People keep recommending it to me for the last couple of years, and I just never got around to it with the manga or the anime. I promise I will eventually watch it, but that's something that I got to do later. But aside from that, what I could gather, the main connection between the two of them was that they're both from series that were big 90s anime icons that both ran alongside each other, though Beerus didn't debut in Dragon Ball until 2013, while Sailor Galaxia was a main figure even back in the 90s. Both are cosmically powered antagonists with godly power from the concept of destruction, and both have an Egyptian aesthetic to their designs. Though from what I've heard, Galaxia might not be a god, she just has high cosmic power and a god complex. But if that's true, whatever she really is, if anyone wants to comment that below and to clarify for me, I would really appreciate that. But I guess if she isn't a god, I think that adds a cool dynamic to the fight, that it's a wannabe god versus a real god of destruction. So I think that's kind of a cool way to look at it. So now that I got that out of the way, I can just get started on the synopsis of the characters themselves. To start off the Beerus one, I really like this bit that they have talking about how cats are evil and that cats have only been domesticated for a relatively short amount of time compared to dogs. That's not really relevant to the fight, I just kind of like that bit. That's actually a lot of what Beerus' analysis consists of, a lot of cat jokes. And I like that they mentioned in the text that he was actually modeled after Toriyama's own pet cat, which is just adorable. If there's one thing I do want to mention, it's this calculation for the Dragon Ball universe's size, because this is something that Death Battle will be using quite often for the next couple of Dragon Ball videos. I find that there is two sides to using this image. The first is that the series itself is rather inconsistent on what the universe actually looks like. Most of the time when we see the multiverse in Super, it doesn't actually look like this. And if we take the way the scale of this map of the multiverse right here is depicting it, Snake Way would be much longer than the stated length it has in the series. So I'm not sure, even if the one time it's used in the DBS manga, where we see it in the Goku Black arc, if it's meant to be taken absolutely literally, like that is how the universe looks, or if it's just some simplified version of it. Because like I said, the Snake Way actively, contradicts what it says here, how it looks here, because it's said to be 600,000 kilometers long in the manga. Yeah, if we look at it here, it's nearly the length of the universe. And the universe is much, much bigger than just 600,000 kilometers, as we know, as there's numerous galaxies in it. And 600,000 kilometers is much smaller than what can fit in a galaxy. I'm not really sure what to do with that, but I won't really blame them, because it's pretty hard to understand. And honestly, for a power scaling video, you really got to go with what you can really think and what's there. And this is really the only option that they have for it. Aside from that, a lot of what they mention is what Beerus' speed, like flying between galaxies within minutes, and the strength to destroy a universe with his punches that was shown in Battle of Gods. Yeah, it seems pretty accurate. When his clash against Goku, they mentioned that, and it's funny because that whole fist punch that he had with Goku in Battle of Gods has basically become a meme on Death Battle because of how many times that feat is used to scale characters throughout Dragon Ball Super. And it'll be brought up a lot in the next couple of episodes. And there's just one other thing that I want to mention about Beerus' analysis so far, is they make a statement that all versions of Ki in Dragon Ball are limited. But I want to say, Technically, this isn't true for Hakai, as we later find out at the beginning of the Granola arc, but that was after this video came out, so I won't really hold that against them. But it's stated by Beerus to Vegeta that there actually is no limit to his power, as long as his mind is on destruction, which is part of the source for Ultra Ego's power. But like I said, that came out after this video was made and released, so I won't really hold that against them there, that they had no way of knowing, because that wasn't, out yet. So beyond those things, I don't really have anything else to say for Beerus' analysis, so now on to Galaxia. Like I said before, I haven't watched or read Sailor Moon myself, so I am kind of limited in what I can actually critique here. But from what I'm seeing, most of what's said in the chat sounds really cool. Hearing that there was a major difference between Galaxia and the anime and the manga is pretty interesting to me. I'm used to the anime and manga having some differences between them, but hearing that the anime completely reinvented her history, making her a hero that literally got corrupted by the power she held, as opposed to always being evil like in the manga. That's kind of cool to me. Overall, that's all I really have to say about her analysis, because there's only so much I can say since I haven't experienced the story myself. Now, with those out of the way, I can move on to the fight. So, the animation just starts with Beerus chilling on the beach with his ice cream, pretty in character, until Galaxia blows up the planet, and as we know, Beerus getting mad over his food and has been his thing for years now, and the fight commences. I like how they then try to do this thing where they try poking each other with their fingers until they literally slice a cut in reality, and since they're both sick of this, they both just try to erase the other from existence, which naturally doesn't work since they both have an immunity to it. And I want to say, I love the voices that they have in this video. The voice actors here did a very spot-on impression of both Carrie Karanen and Jason Douglas's voices for Galaxia and Beerus, respectively.
You're no match. You lack the instinct.
You're trash! You'll die like dirt!
Also, the blast effects they have throughout this animation here just look so cool. The animation in this fight is a really impressive jump up from the last episode, in my opinion. And I really love the instrumental track in the background, Gods of Destruction by Brandon Yates. Has a really godly and powerful sounding feeling to it. And the way their blasts clash and cause a star to straight up collapse is so cool. And their next clash just causes shockwaves that destroy planets and causing the star to further collapse into being a black hole. Visually, very cool. And I also like this scene right before that where they both landed on this planet and got greeted by the locals.
Kneel for me!
Hello there, stranger. Welcome.
It gives a nice contrast between them with Galaxia's ego and Beerus' uncaring attitude towards things. And I love this final blast from Beerus towards Galaxia that blew her apart, sending her into the black hole and bringing his ice cream back up. So after that, they go into the post-fight synopsis after discussing the stats for both of them and explaining how they got the result. And honestly, this is where Dragon Ball scaling on Death Battle all starts to repeat itself, and their calculations for how big Universe 7 is to the real world is going to start shifting and altering in basically every video from now on. But to keep it simple, they ruled the size of Universe 7's macrocosm and the fact that throughout all of Dragon Ball Super, Beerus has remained stronger than Goku despite Super Saiyan Blue and Ultra Instinct, which greatly increased his strength. That scaling puts Beerus' total strength far beyond that of the initial punch clash in Battle of Gods, which secured him the win. And overall, a really solid episode and fun to watch. The interactions for this episode were a lot cooler than in the last few DB episodes to me. Honestly, this was really the beginning of Dragon Ball's cosmic run on Death Battle, where it's with all of Dragon Ball Super's heavy hitters with universal scaling discussions all the way from this episode to Goku vs. Superman 3. And that's really all I gotta say for this one. Do me a favor by liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, and follow me on all the social media platforms listed in the description. As for the next episode, since Death Battle is going to be up with Bardock vs. Omni-Man, from as of the uploading of this video, that'll be tomorrow. My next review will either be a review of that or of Hulk vs. Broly. So expect either one. That's all, and I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you.